Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is January 11th, Thursday night, about 10 p.m. as we record. It's Wild Card Weekend, Lee. You ready for the
Yeah.
playoffs?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm excited. I
Uh-huh.
can't wait. I can't wait.
Yep, it'll be Steelers at Buffalo at 1 p.m. on Sunday on CBS. I don't know who's listening, if they've heard any of these rumors of the weather being so bad they're going to move the game to
Yeah.
Cleveland and all this other
Yeah.
bull crap. According to
Yeah.
pretty much every Steeler beat reporter, according to team officials, there's no truth to any of those rumors. It'll be great if
Yeah.
come Sunday we're in Cleveland and I look like a fool for making this statement, but I just figured
Uh,
I'd start us off by talking about that. And
yeah.
I, I did you see that rumor at all?
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw these rumors about all these 3 feet of snow and 60-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? What are they
Uh
talking
huh.
about? Like, this is crazy. I've never. They're like, yeah, one of the most craziest weather game of NFL history is going to be this sun. It's going to be this Sunday or Saturday with the Steelers and or Sunday with the Steelers and Bills. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that they're really calling it like this, like
They're
now, like
really
oh,
putting
that's
it out
crazy.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
I think just too many people have too much time on their hands when it comes
yeah,
to the move.
yeah,
So
yeah.
apparently, this rumor it started through a reporter. I'm pretty sure it was Marty Griffin saying he knew someone
Yeah.
on the grounds crew in Cleveland who was told about this. So his inside
Oh,
source is the grounds crew in Cleveland.
oh,
Um,
oh,
I don't know what's going on with all that. Then it gets picked up by the fan. Of course, the fan has to bring it up, and I don't watch it. I don't listen. I'm sure they talked
yeah,
about it for hours on it, and it's just goofiness, and it takes
yeah,
away from what the actual game, and
yeah.
it's why Pittsburgh media is what Pittsburgh media is. I
Oh,
think.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. What a joke.
Yeah. From what I've seen, the weather I saw was 1 to 3 inches of snow, about
Yeah,
25-mile-per-hour winds
yeah,
with gusts up to
yeah,
50.
yeah.
Is that what I've seen? Maybe it'll change. It is Buffalo. Buffalo was known for snow games, but like
Oh, yeah.
the thing that really got me about moving the game to Cleveland is like seen Buffalo with huge snow games where they don't move the game to another field. Why
Oh,
would we
yeah.
then this year decide, hey, okay, we're going to move it? We're going to move to Cleveland, which is just across the lake. Which I
Oh, I
mean,
know.
if there's a lake effect, who knows? Maybe the lake effect will hit Cleveland just as bad. Well, it's
I
not
mean,
nothing
I mean,
as bad as Buffalo, but
yeah. What about that game the Steelers played there? I think it was snowed so much. Le'Veon Bell had one of his greatest running games there, and it
yeah,
was snow was
uh-huh.
crazy. I think there was a game where Detroit even went there, and Megatron made a catch and had snow all in his helmet, and they
Yeah.
didn't can.
Like
You know what I mean?
there's
So
always been wild games there. They've never been
yeah.
moved somewhere else, or I shouldn't
No,
say
not at
never.
all.
I'm sure there's some kind of scenario where the game has been moved,
Yeah,
but from everything I can tell, this game's gonna be in Buffalo. I don't understand why it
yeah.
became a story. It just
I don't know.
let's focus on the actual game from here on
Yeah,
out.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
uh, and then let's focus on the regular season as a whole. How about
Yeah,
we take some time to just look back at some of the big takeaways we have from the season as a whole? Do you want to start off? Give us one,
yeah.
whatever you're
I
thinking.
got some stats and some ranks I want to kind of go over, and I wanted to
Okay,
kind
cool.
of, during the I think it was the middle of the season, I did a comparison to last year to where the Steelers were at with Matt Canada up to his
Yeah, I
last game,
remember
and I wanted to
that.
kind of compare where the Steelers uh were at once Matt Canada left after his last game to where how the season ended. So I just want to run through some stats for the offense and throw a little bit for the defense as well, just to kind of let everybody know who's watching. How the Steelers, if they improved or didn't. I just want to go through this. So uh, at Matt Canada's last game of the season, the Steelers were ranked 28th in points per game at 16.6. The Steelers finished at the end of this year 27th at 17.9. So they moved up one ranking there. Total yards per game, the Steelers were ranked 29th in total yards per game at 97.9 yards per game, and they ended the season at 25th in total yards per game at 304.3. For passing yards, the Steelers were ranked at Matt Canada's last game at pass yards per game at 31st at 187.8 yards per game, and they ended the season 25th in pass yards per game. They actually went down a yard, but they ranked higher on the ranking list for that at 186.1 yards per game. Rush yards, the Steelers were ranked at 16th at 110.1. At the end of the season for rush yards per game, they were ranked 13th at 118.2 yards per game. So a little bit of improvement there. Time possession, this is a real big improvement here. The Steelers were ranked 31st at Matt Canada's last game at 27 minutes and 37 seconds. At the end of the season, they ranked 19th, almost went up, 15 points, 15 ranks up there. It's a 19th at 29 minutes and 38 seconds, which they went up 2 minutes in a second at the end of the season. So they definitely improved there. On the defensive side, the Steelers were ranked 7th at points allowed at 19.5 points per game. And at the end of the season, they ranked at 6th at 19.1. So a little bit of a decrease and improvement there. The defense total yards allowed, the Steelers were ranked 27th at the time Matt Canada left at 367.60 yards per game allowed. And they ended the season at 21st yards allowed a game at 342.12 yards per game allowed. Pass yards allowed, the Steelers were ranked 23rd at that time, 239.90 yards per game, and they ended the season 17th with pass yards allowed at 227.06 yards per game. Rush yards allowed, the Steelers were ranked 23rd at 127.70 rush yards allowed per game at that time, and they ended the season 19th at 115.06 yards per game. There's definitely been a lot of improvement on the offensive defensive side since that time. I just have a couple little more things here. The Steelers ranked 9th in sacks at 47. They ranked 11th in 11th with 16 interceptions this season. The Steelers had a total of 11 fumbles on the defense. Their turnovers, they were ranked 4th at an 11 plus differential for turnovers by the defense. The offense was ranked 25th at the end of the season. The defense was ranked 21st at the end of the season, and the special teams was ranked 15th at the end of the season. So, decent season. There was definitely a lot of it was a slow start, but they definitely improved offensively at that second half of the season once Matt Canada left. I mean, there was a point where we thought, he was the problem, then he wasn't the problem, then he was the problem again, but they definitely improved offensively and defensively at that point in time of the season with the rankings and yards, and they definitely improved, and they won those last 3 games to get themselves into the playoffs. So, with some help, but they made the plays and did what they needed to do to get to the record 10-7, what they needed, and now they're in the wild card game.
Yeah, I take away some of that stuff. You gotta remember during that stretch after Canada, it was 1.5 games of Kenny, 2.5 games of Mitch, and then 3 games of Mason. So it was 3 different quarterbacks on that time frame, and you still saw improvements even without the consistency of having the same guy in there each week. And I think a lot of that goes to something I was going to talk about, which would be the running game, but I will hold off on a second on that. But because you mentioned all those defensive stats, I thought it's real interesting that there was improvement even with all the injuries piling up, and it just says maybe I guess the importance of having like a team defense that's just focused in and guys playing roles that maybe they're not used to playing, or maybe that they haven't had the opportunity to find. They got a couple guys off the street, as Tomlin had said this week. With Miles Jack and Eric Rowe, and I think that's even though the storyline all season has been the offense, I think that those stats on the defense are actually real interesting too.
Oh yeah, for sure, because they definitely stepped up, like you said, with all the injuries that they had. I mean, it looked like they were dropping like flies every week on defense, but the players that came up off the practice squad and, whatever free agency signings they made and stuff like that. I mean, they definitely stepped up and helped, and yeah, they improved significantly in that second half of the season. It was just amazing to see. Gotta also shout out TJ Watt. I'm hoping he wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Three separate seasons. The first defensive player to lead with sacks. He had ended with 19. Hoping for a speedy recovery though for him with that injury in that Ravens game, but he did his thing and he led that defense as well. He was definitely the MVP on that team.
Yep, and he's out this week officially. Knowing him, he'll try to get back as soon as possible. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be at least one game without him, which is troubling when you look at the stats. We're 1-10. Steelers are 1-10 without TJ Watt in his career, which is disappointing to see. But maybe they're due, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Did you see the little tweet by JJ Watt? He said he wanted to put on the jersey and say, "You think anybody would notice?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to switch the jersey if you want to come on out. Come on over, JJ.
Yeah.
I don't know his contract situation if he's still under contract with
Yeah.
It was Arizona, right? Or no?
Did he go back Arizona? To? Yeah.
Did he sign a 1 day with? Did he sign a 1 day with Texans though? Maybe not. It doesn't matter.
I didn't think he did. No, I don't think he did. I think he just retired. Yeah, with Arizona. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'd be great. Hey, if we could sign him, come on in. Yeah.
He's working this week. He can't make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first takeaway go along with what you're saying, but is we were early in the year we were talking about finding an identity, and I think they've found one in this running game in the second half of this season. Najee Harris has looked great down the stretch. Jaylen Warren has been an amazing player, especially as an undrafted guy. I just think that they just keep moving forward with this run game, especially this week in the weather, the wind. The wind's the main thing this week, I think, is going to be the 20-mile-per-hour winds and all that. So just run the ball and have a good time with that. If you struggle, you struggle. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. It might be similar to the game with Baltimore, but for different reasons. That was all rain that was causing the issues there. This will be the wind and maybe a little snow. But just play it smart, no turnovers, and the run game. I mean, early in the year, we're looking at it and seeing Najee. He looked slow. He didn't look too powerful even, but it was a complete turnaround that second half, and we were really bashing the offensive line all first half. That improved too. Dan Moore's not the greatest guy still, but I mean, in the run game, you can see improvements. And Mason Cole, I'm not a big fan of, but as a whole, the group has played well down the stretch, I think.
Yeah, definitely after that bye week. I mean, they definitely improved when they came out to that. I think it was that Rams game, and it just seemed to improve right after that. I mean, Najee stepped up, Jaylen Warren stepped up. I mean, you even saw Najee out there, getting into people's faces, hyping up his teammates.
Yep.
I want to ask you. I was watching some highlights of this season. I would rank Najee Harris as one of the best with a stiff arm. His stiff arm, when he's running, it's just it's phenomenal. I've seen some of the plays that he makes with the stiff arms and the hurdles. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. But he definitely improved and stepped up when it needed to be. And like you said, the line did too. And I think they discovered an identity with that running game for sure.
And we were among them. We were thinking it's time to give Warren the bulk of the carries. And I think Najee proved the confidence that the coaches had in him, right? And he came out and was solid down the stretch. And they're a great 1-2 punch. And I like the mix. And I think that they're going to be good down the stretch. Down the stretch now. Now we're in playoff time. The stretch is over. I guess this is the big time. But I'm looking forward to see what they do. Buffalo's not great against the run. So just pound the rock on Sunday and hope for the best, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking. It'd probably just be a running game with the high winds. I mean, maybe, there might be a few passes here or there, but I think it's just going to be a running game for sure for both teams.
Yeah. Josh Allen has a big arm. Mason, I mean, has a good arm too, but I mean, Josh Allen's got probably top 2 to 3 on the league, along with like Mahomes and stuff like that. So I do expect them to try some stuff. We didn't mention it. I think let me look it up real quick. Gabe Davis is questionable and might even be out at this point, but that's a big loss for the Bills. He's their one of the deep threats, and his numbers in the playoffs are pretty amazing. Also, but as I'm looking up that, do you have any other takeaways from the regular season? Anything to look back on that we touched on earlier? Maybe we haven't talked about lately or anything?
I mean, just especially I was watching earlier tonight. I was watching the 2005 Steelers, how they had to win their last couple games just to get into the wild card, just like this season. And it's just incredible what they did over these last couple games and how things changed offensively with those last 3 games with Mason in. I don't know. Again, if Kenny's not injured, I can't say that, he wouldn't do the same thing. I don't know. But you can't fault what Mason has done these past 3 games. He has really stepped up and made so many big plays and helped this offense move down the field. I mean, they looked great, and then the defense stepping up as well, like we talked about. But these last 3 games have been incredible, especially with the offense improving at the second half. After Matt Canada left, we got our first 400-yard game, which was crazy, and we got a lot more 300-yard games as well. But just impressive to see what Mason has done these past 3 games, and I'm excited to see what he'll do this Sunday.
Yeah, the offense has been completely different. Maybe Kenny doesn't get hurt; they still go 10-7, but I don't think they get 10-7 the way they did. It wouldn't have been these last 3 games. It wouldn't have been those 30 points in those 2 consecutive games. Yeah, Mason solidified himself as the starter for the rest of the year. I don't think there's anything at this point that could happen to take him out. Even if they win 3-0 on Sunday, you're still starting Mason the next game.
For sure. I think you do. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a confidence with the rest of the team right now that wasn't there. And again, that's something that'll be my next thing I'll talk about is Mike Tomlin's whole season. It's been a roller coaster for him. There was a point where I was at the edge. I don't know. Were you at the edge? I don't want to talk for you, but how were you feeling after those 2 games?
Yeah, after the Cardinals and Patriots game, it's like, oh man, what is going on with this team and what's going on with the coaching, and especially when we would see Tomlin in his post-game interviews, it was like, man,
he looked like a different guy.
yeah, for sure. And I was kind of thinking maybe, they might have been done with him if he didn't get a winning, he doesn't make the playoffs or get another winning season. It was just like you said, it was a roller coaster of a ride for him, and especially the team this season. But in Tomlin way, in Tomlin fashion, he pulls out another winning season and gets 10 wins, and it's unbelievable to see. And right after those couple wins, he's back to the old Tomlin that we know.
So yeah, now there's no way the Steelers will be getting rid of him, but there are a little bit of murmurs of him deciding to step away himself. But then there's other guys who are like, there's no way he's going. So we'll see what happens there. I think at this point he'll be here the next year. And I'm sure we'll hear about an extension being signed over the offseason also. But I mean, there was that point. I do want to give myself something, some kernel of I never said he was a bad coach. I always praised him and said he'd get a job somewhere else. I did think there was a point where it was like it's time to move on. There needs to be a breakup between the two. But he proved why he is the guy that we all thought he was, and why he gets the credit around the league. He's a Hall of Fame coach. Even if he doesn't win another Super Bowl, I think he's a Hall of Fame coach, right? I mean, all these wins at one place, this winning record, right?
I think he is. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl win. Was it 17 consecutive seasons with a winning record?
Still young too, so he's gonna rack up wins.
Still young, yeah. And I think I just saw that now that Bill Belichick is out of New England, he's the longest tenure coach right now in the NFL. I think right now.
Yeah, Harbaugh's probably right on his tail, right?
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's like a year or 2 behind.
Yeah. So it's That's my second takeaway from the season. Just the roller coaster ride that Tomlin's been on,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can throw in all the drama with the receivers with that, and it seems like everything's calm. You can give credit to Tomlin. I think you give credit to Mason
Yeah.
also to come in there and just bring in some. I guess you call it leadership, right? I mean, I don't know what else you would want to go and say what it is, but those
Yeah,
are
I
some
think that's
things
what
that
it
they've
is
done.
for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what it is for sure. I mean, it's he stepped up, and a lot of the guys were backing him, and he made some great plays in those 3 games that we played. I mean, he looked like a guy that wants to be there and win, and he really stepped up. He did his thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing him start this Sunday in Buffalo.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So how about we finish this off by giving some predictions for all the games this weekend. We'll go
Yeah.
in order of when those play, except for the Steelers. We'll leave the Steelers for last.
Okay.
But we got 2 games on Saturday. The first one is the Browns -2 at the Texans. You can just predict who you think's going to win, and maybe if you want to give a score, you can. Who cares? Maybe if you want to say whether or not the Browns will cover, do you think they'll win by 2 points or not? But Jay, what are you thinking on that game?
Yeah, so I think they played, and I think the Browns had won that first game during the regular season, and CJ Stroud wasn't in. But I think now with CJ Stroud, he has some momentum coming into the wild card after winning to get into the playoffs against the Colts. But I think we're gonna see the Joe Flacco story continue for a little bit longer. I
Yeah.
think we are, and I think the Browns are gonna win again. I think the Browns will cover, and I think it'll be 24-20 Browns.
Yeah, it's the likely offensive rookie of the year against the wily old vet.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I also think the Browns will win, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be very close. I think the Browns will win pretty handily. They'll cover that 2 points, and I'm thinking they'll win by at least a touchdown. Their defense is great, and Texans are still a young team, and maybe they're not ready for this matchup yet.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, sometimes not having the experience is good for you. You don't know enough to get worried. You don't know enough to get scared, and you
Yeah.
just go out there and
Yeah.
ball the way you need to ball. But
Yeah.
that's all I'm thinking there. So we're both on Browns there.
Yeah. Both on
Okay, so
Browns.
we'll go Browns. That game's on NBC at 4:30 on Saturday. Saturday night, I think this one is one of the big games of the
Yeah, I
week.
think
I would
so.
go with. I think this is the big game of the week. The
Yeah.
Dolphins +5 at the Chiefs. That game's at 8 p.m. Saturday on Peacock. Before you can get in the game, what are your thoughts on the fact that it's a Peacock exclusive game, and without that, you can't watch it?
That's kind of messed up. I mean, it's all money now. The NFL wants
Yeah.
money, It's kind of ridiculous, Used to be able to just turn on Fox or ABC or NBC and just watch the game.
Be
Now
ready, yeah.
can't even do that anymore. It's all on streaming platforms now. It's kind of ridiculous, but whatever they want to do. All those
Yeah.
Swifties can go watch that game, I guess.
Yeah. That is a perfect game for them to get some new
Yeah,
subscriptions.
for
The,
sure.
the one good thing about it, not good thing, but at least they're giving us giving something is that if you're in the Miami market or if you're in the Kansas City market, it is on
Yeah.
TV still. But for
Yeah.
everyone else, yeah, pay your money
Yeah.
and get
Kind
used
of
to it because
ridiculous.
it's gonna come. I mean,
Yeah.
Amazon already has Thursday nights. You think Amazon's
Yep.
not going to have a playoff game soon? There's no way they don't have a playoff
Oh
game in
yeah,
the
for
next couple of
sure.
years.
For sure.
So it's going to happen
For sure.
again and again and again until
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
biggest fear I think is these games turn into pay-per-view. Each game becoming pay-per-view. I know there's a lot of talk about that for the Super Bowl because that's just hopefully greed doesn't win out. But it seems like greed always does win out. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
just gotta hope
crazy.
and pray. There's enough people. I mean, they're making so much money. You think they can just leave us alone? Leave us alone.
Yeah,
Give us
come on.
give us the Super Bowl.
Let the average Joe watch the game. Come on.
But yeah, let's get back to the game. Who you got, Dolphins or the Chiefs?
So the Dolphins, I think didn't the Dolphins the Chiefs play earlier in Germany this year? I think the Chiefs had won that game in Germany.
Yeah.
And I think the Dolphins were the favorite at that point, but they still lost. the Dolphins have been slacking, and so have the Chiefs. I think there's going to be too many mistakes in this game by both teams. I really do. They've just been not playing that well down the stretch. I don't think the Browns will cover. I think they'll actually, or not the Browns. Sorry, the Dolphins.
Chiefs, yeah.
I think they'll lose. I think the Dolphins will lose.
Well, the
And
Chiefs. Sorry, maybe I said it wrong. The Chiefs are the favorite. The Dolphins are +5. Meaning
okay, sorry.
they're supposed to lose by 5. So, but you got that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Dolphins are going to lose. I think
Okay,
they'll
so you
cover
got
and
the
they'll
Chiefs.
lose. I think
You
they're
think-
going to be out of their element. It's going to be cold. I think the Chiefs will win. I think it's going to be 31-17 Chiefs.
31-17. Wow. I want to be the guy who goes with the Dolphins, goes for the upset. I do think they'll cover. If I had to make a bet, I would bet on the Dolphins for the +5. But the actual game, I think the Chiefs got enough experience that they'll find a way to win by a field goal here. I think the Chiefs win by a field goal. The scoring is not as high as everyone is expecting either. I think it'll be a low scoring game. Chiefs defense is pretty good. And Dolphins offense has been struggling a little bit, and Chiefs offense has been struggling hardcore for a good bit now. They're not the same team that they've been offensively in a long while. But yeah, so we're both going Chiefs. You think that the Chiefs will cover? I think that the Dolphins will win. Keep it close enough to win the spread. Next up would be the Steeler game. Will we leave that for last? And then we have the Packers +7, meaning the underdogs in that game by 7 at the Cowboys. 4:30 p.m. Sunday on Fox.
Yeah, the Cowboys, I think, have been undefeated at home this season. They look pretty decent. They're a pretty good team. They're the number 2 seed, I think, right now for the NFC. I think that the Dolphins are gonna, or heck, I'm all thinking about the team we just talked about. I'm all confused. I think the Cowboys are gonna win this game, and I think it's gonna be a little bit closer. The Packers have been playing pretty well. But I think the spread won't be covered, and I think it'll be a 27-24 Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is another interesting game. Jordan Love's had a good season for first year starter, and I'll take Packers +7 for sure. Now the question is, do the Cowboys still win this game? And I'll go Cowboys. Similar score to you, something maybe 3 points, 4 points, somewhere around there. Win by that much. Yeah, I'll go Cowboys. Maybe the game. This is the shootout of the. The next one's probably going to be the shootout of the weekend. But, I'll still say this one. I'll go 35-31 here. I'll say this is a lot more scoring than expected, especially with the Cowboys defense and all that. But I think Love will show up, but the Cowboys will have enough to take the win.
Okay.
That's where I'll go there.
Yeah.
Next up, Sunday night game. Rams are the underdog +3 at the Lions. That's an 8 p.m. start on NBC.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the shootout. You got Matthew Stafford. It's like a Cinderella story. Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit with the Rams to play in a playoff game. And you got Jared Goff, and the Lions have been playing decent, have been playing so well on offense. They have, one of the best offensive teams this year. I think this is going to be a shootout, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think the final score is going to be 45-42 Lions.
Wow. Okay, that'll be interesting. That'll be fun for Sunday night. Most people will be off on Monday with Martin Luther King Day coming up, so that'll be a fun game. That might go to 11:30 midnight if it's that high scoring, which would be fun to see. This is going to be an interesting game. Like you said, it's a homecoming for Stafford. It's a Jared Goff revenge game. They gave up on him, and he's gone over to Detroit and showed he is an NFL quarterback. I guess we did kind of gloss over. It was a homecoming for Tyreek at Chiefs too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that one.
It's another interesting storyline for that game. But going back to Rams and Lions, I think the Lions will win. I think they'll cover. I like Dan Campbell as a coach. I think that they'll come out and show why they were 12-5 on the year. So I'll go Lions. Finish it off. It's a Monday game. Eagles -3, so they're the favorites. I get Buccaneers. What are your thoughts on that final one?
Yeah, the Eagles it almost kind of seemed like they've given up over these past couple of games. I mean, they looked really terrible in that Eagles game, or the Eagles and Giants game. Two of them, they looked, it looked kind of scary that they were going to lose that first one, and they lost the second one, and they lost to the Cardinals, and it almost kind of looked like they're giving up on their coach. But I think the Buccaneers squeaked out an NFC
Yeah.
South Division championship there, and I don't think they're going to be able to compete with the Eagles. I really don't. I think the Eagles will come out and they'll win that game, and I think this one might be a blowout. I think this one's going to be like a 35-10 game. To be honest, I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be able to compete with the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles season's gone a lot like that one 11-0 start for the Steelers a couple years ago. Remember where everything looked like it was great, and then it just fell apart. And then the playoff game that year, the Steelers got blown out. Right? Am I remembering right?
Yeah, by the Browns. Yeah, blown out.
A lot of turnovers earlier.
Yeah.
I think that you're right. The Buccaneers just aren't as good as the Eagles, even with all the drama and all that. So you got to go Eagles here. I think that they'll win handily, like you're saying too. Maybe not as much. Maybe I'll go a little close. Maybe a 10-point game for me, somewhere around there. But yeah, I'll have Eagles. Well, it's been a couple. This is a couple years in, right, for the Monday night games. What are your thoughts on the fact that teams are going to play Monday night? And it's only one game on Monday night, and then there's everyone else is getting like a full week's rest for the most part. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I liked how they had it set up with Saturday and Sunday to give everybody equally. I guess now with the additional game, I guess this is what they want to do for the season. But I liked how they had it before, but I don't know. I guess it gives us an extra day of football. I guess they're giving us more.
It's definitely better for the viewer.
For sure.
But yeah, I guess it's not like they're putting someone on Thursday night. That would be crazy. Monday night.
Sure.
People are used to the Monday night games. So yeah, there is something to that, and then there's also something to, like, if you're that team with the bye, maybe you get one of those Monday night teams, and you've earned that little advantage, I guess, of them. But yeah, it is better for the viewer, but it also it hurts the players, I think, more than anything.
I think it does. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Especially the ones that have to go on the road and if they have to go to a different time zone. You know what I mean? It's a little bit. Yeah. So, but this should be an interesting wild card weekend for sure.
Well, we got one more game to talk about. Give one more prediction. Steelers at Buffalo, 1 p.m. Sunday, Lee. You don't have to give the prediction right away if you want to talk a little bit and give your thoughts on the game, and then fire it out if you got it.
Yeah, again, I'm excited to see the Steelers in the playoffs. This is what you want to see from your team every year, to at least make the playoffs. I don't know how this game's going to go. I mean, the Steelers, they won 3 games in a row to get themselves in the playoffs, and they definitely have a little bit of momentum. However, we talked about it earlier in this show. The Steelers are 1-10 without TJ, and it's going to be tough without your leader on the defense on the field out there. So that means somebody's going to have to step up. I want to say if Minka's playing, he'll step up. Highsmith will step up. Joey Porter Jr. step up. You want to see somebody make a play. Cam Hayward, the captain, maybe he'll step up. It just seems like the Steelers lose their touch when he's not on the field, and it's disheartening. However, Mason Rudolph has really been helping the offense improve, so maybe we can go down and score some points. And I think, like we talked about earlier in the show, the running game has been impressive over the second half of this season with Najee and Jaylen Warren. I mean, just stepping up and making big plays in the rushing game and having 100-yard games, and both of them almost having 100, or both of them having 100 yards from scrimmage, and almost both of them having 100 rushing yards for the season as well. With the weather, how it's going to be, again, we talked about it. I think we both are in agreement that it's probably going to be more of a running game than a passing game, but there probably will be some passing. I don't know how the Steelers will fare out in this game. Buffalo's a pretty decent team. I mean, they weren't even in the playoff picture until I think a few weeks ago when they started winning some games, and they
Yeah.
just won.
Similar
they
to
just
the
won to
Steelers.
be, yeah, for sure, and they just won to
Mhm.
be the second seed. Beating uh, the Dolphins for the division title. Uh, well, not the second. I think the second seed. Yeah, they're the second seed.
Yeah, the 2 seed. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a tough game. I think the Steelers can win, but I don't know if they will. I think it's going to be tough. I don't want to. I don't want to just say they're going to do it, but they could win this game. They for sure they could, but I don't know if they will.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Any number?
I'll,
Any number? Are you holding on for me to go talk a little bit and then come back to you?
I'll let you talk for a little bit, then we'll come back to
Okay.
our prediction. Yeah.
So yeah, like you're saying, I don't. If these two teams play 100 times, I say the Bills win 75 of those games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's still those other 25 games, so there are variations of how this game can go on Sunday that the Steelers win. I think Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in this league in my eyes. Maybe some disagree, but he's definitely turnover prone. He definitely is willing to make mistakes, and the Steelers could capitalize on those mistakes. The Steelers could make some plays on defense. They can hit some shots deep. Maybe they sneak a shot to a slant, not even deep, but one of those slants. But both Pickens and Johnson have shown they can go 70 yards on a nice little slant over the middle. And maybe that'll be the difference in the game. If this game's low scoring, maybe the Steelers can get lucky and be the team that gets that. I think it's going to come to the spread on this game is 10. I don't think that it's going to be a 10-point spread. I think the Steelers will keep it within 10 points for sure. I think it's going to come down to who hits the shots. There's going to be at least one shot, one long touchdown in this game, whether it's running or passing. And it's depend. I think whoever hits that shot is going to be the one that wins. And I think that it's going to be the Buffalo Bills that hit that shot, not the Steelers this week. I think the running game is going to come out and do well, but I still think that the Bills are just the better team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Bills 16-10, I will say. That'll be the final. I think it's going to be low scoring. I'm going to go 16-10. Bills win. Hope I'm wrong. I can definitely see scenarios where I'm wrong, but I just looking at everything and being I remember sitting here calling myself an asshole for hours on end, and I'm not going to forget what I had said during that. I'm not going to allow anything to happen. But I also want to point out that you brought up the 2005 season, the 7-5 start. That team had to go and beat 3 great teams to win that Super Bowl. 4 great teams, if you include the Seahawks. And it'll be a similar scenario here for the Steelers. Probably going to have to go and beat Buffalo. They would have to go then and beat Baltimore. And then it's either going to probably be the Chiefs or the Dolphins, which have been 2 good teams. So it'll be interesting, and could be more parallels to that year if we keep,
for sure.
If we keep at it and figure something out. But Lee, I'm putting you to the fire. What's the final? Who's winning?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Bills are going to have that play that does it. But again, I'm in agreement with you. I hope I'm wrong. I think the Bills will win this game, though, and I agree. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it'll be even closer than that. I think it'll be 17-14 final score. Bills over the Steelers.
Okay.
But again, I hope we're both wrong, and the scenarios and the variations that happen in this game turns out the Steelers winning and moving on to the divisional round. It'd be great.
There are many timelines where the Steelers will be the victor this weekend.
That's right.
I think there's many more that'll be on the Buffalo's tie, and I think that we're on one of those timelines.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But let's hope Allen comes out and he throws 3 interceptions. He fumbles a couple times. Do something, Allen.
Yeah,
help us out.
Yeah.
You're still young. You can get yourself a Super Bowl later. It'll be an even greater story if you get your Super Bowl later on, because it'll be a story of overcoming all your failures early on. So come on out, give us some turnovers.
That's right.
Time to make a star out of someone on this defense. With TJ out, someone else is going to have to step up. We do get Minka back, so there's a lot A lot of things that are going the Steelers' way, other than the Watt thing, obviously, and that's a huge thing.
Oh yeah,
But I think it's going to be the Bills. Hopefully, we're wrong. Any parting shots before we head out for the week?
No, just I'm agreeing with you. Let's hope Josh Allen has a terrible game and he makes a lot of mistakes and the Steelers can pull off a victory. That'd be great. So we'll see what happens Sunday, 1 p.m. in Buffalo.
Yep, and we'll see you after the game for the post game.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Yep. You too. I'll see you.
Yep.